Should I have a S Corp, a C Corp, LLC? What should I have as my entity? Great question, guys. All right. So I really wanted to talk to you entrepreneurs out there because it's one of these things that, yeah, you should strongly consider setting up an LLC or corporation, S Corp. And disclaimer, I'm not an attorney. I'm not your advisor. You're an adult. Go check with your experts. All right. So lots of things to consider. Why? Well, it's one of these things. They say it's going to be very, very hard to go after somebody's personal assets when you have multiple entities. It's very, very hard to pierce the corporate veil. Okay. So the harder it is to find you as an individual in a lot of cases, especially if you have a lot of assets, you got to protect your assets. Seriously, because if you have very little assets, I wouldn't worry about it. If you're not making a whole lot of money yet, I wouldn't even worry about it. You know, some people worry about it way too soon. Should I do an S Corp, an LLC, a C Corp, and blah, blah, blah. Don't worry about it. Unless, like I said, you know yourself better than most. And I would just say, speak in California, at least, you know, if you're making a couple $100,000 of gross revenues, then yeah, absolutely. Because part of that is also tax, right? When you really want to maximize your tax, the IRS code and advantages, it truly helps, because then you could really start to write off a lot of different things, like versus mileage. If you own the car or leasing, you could write off the whole payment. Again, disclaimer, you know, I don't know your situation. Make sure you check with your tax advisors, your attorneys, what have you. I mean, there's a lot of different sources where I went to, there's a lot of different online places that you could set up entities. I mean, if it's very basic, I've taken the chances, and, you know, like I said, if it's a simple entity, but if it's a very sophisticated entity, something you plan to use a long, long time, I had to move because of the light, then I would really strongly consider, looking further at a very reputable attorney. Okay. LLC is typically when you're having properties, or even sometimes businesses. You know, when I bought multiple properties, I would put them in different LLCs, like especially if one was here in California, one was in Las Vegas, one was in Texas or whatever. You know, it kind of helps when they're different parts of the country to have separate LLCs. Now, they have the anonymity states where you have Delaware, Wyoming, Nevada. You know, people will talk about that as well, which do some research. But as far as what I found, Wyoming is one of the best. Wyoming by far. Okay. S Corp versus C Corp. S, you just want to think small. You know, small. So you're a smaller business. I actually had one of my corporations set up in 2001, you know, and that was me as a realtor. I was given great advice. So I decided to form a S Corp, and I paid myself through my corporation. Okay. Like I said, so like if you're starting to make a lot more money, you might want to set up yourself as on salary. Okay. Put yourself on salary. I like Gusto payroll. I've used Paychex, ADP, a few others like that. And Gusto, I believe I'm an affiliate of that one. So I'll probably put the link below on that one. And, for your entity structuring, I do have a couple corporations, like I said, that I am doing business with, that I'm affiliated with, that I'll probably recommend them as well. In every state, like if you're buying property out of state, you might want to find a attorney in that state to form your corporation. So I've done that as well. So there's a lot of different things you want to consider when you set up these entities, a lot of different considerations. And again, I'm not an attorney, I'm not your advisor, but feel free to reach out. You know, I'm around. I'm happy to consult or coach or mentor you about these different things, or you can shoot me a quick DM and what have you. But again, full disclaimer, do your due diligence. I don't want to be responsible for your decisions. We're in such a what do you call that? A very high litigious kind of economy nowadays, and there's people just wanted to make that quick buck and take advantage of people. And I believe in karma. So if you don't believe in that, you're gonna get yours, because it's one of those things that I'm a believer. And you try to put more good vibes out there, you'll get blessed with more good vibes. But if you put bad stuff out there, well, you'll get that tenfold probably. And sometimes it's not immediate. Sometimes it's delayed. And anyway, I'm going to get off my soapbox before I start preaching too much about that. But guys, again, when you're looking to set up your entities, yeah, it depends. There's a lot of different variables. Even when you set up a syndication, okay, when you're taking down a large building, a large retail structure, there's GP, general partner, limited partners, and you would put that in like an operating agreement, okay? And I've seen a lot of people trying to raise money online, and that's a big no-no. So you got to be really, really careful if you're going to play that real estate game or business acquisition game. And hey, I need money, I found a deal, blah, blah, blah. Well, you're getting into potential SEC violations, Securities and Exchange Commission violations. That's a big no-no, and if they catch you, that's some serious problems. So be really, really careful. As you can tell, I've been doing this a long, long time. I'm starting to get some gray hair and losing hair. I don't care, guys. I'm raw and real. Like I said, I'm just putting it out there on my YouTube and out there in the world because I really want to help. Big or small, I want to help create wealth for all. Big or small, I want to help create wealth for all. That's a big part of why I'm very passionate about putting this stuff online. I'm here to help, here to serve. God bless. Take care. See you later, alligator. Subscribe, like, follow. And yeah, feel free to reach out. Seriously, I'm a very easy person to talk to. Probably not the easiest person to get a hold of because I'm very busy. I have a lot of very, very sophisticated, high-paying clients. Well, if they're paying me a lot of money and they think my time is and my knowledge is worth it, you better believe I'm going to give them more than what they deserve, because they trusted me, they liked me, they hired me, and you better believe that they're getting my attention first. For a coffee or a lunch, I'm sorry, sometimes I'll say no because my time is way more than a cup of coffee and a lunch. And so realize that too. When you start dealing with people that are playing the bigger game, respect that. That's a little bit of an insult sometimes, but once in a while, I've done it, and it's just, if I see something in you or you're that kind of person that I feel a good aura about you, that you're a good person, well, once in a while I will, I will give unconditionally where there's zero expectation, zero thing I want back. I mean, I had a young student said something to me one time. He goes, "So is this what it's all about?" I go, "Dude, no." It's whatever you want to create that's what it's about. There's no hidden agenda sometimes with me, and I'll come out and tell you what I want, what's my outcome, what's my intention. But there's some folks out there kind of distrusting and what have you. And yeah, check them out. Do your due diligence. Again, do your due diligence when you're thinking about setting up an entity, LLC, S Corp, C Corp. Just think of it very simple, where S Corp is, if you're kind of a smaller business, looking to pay yourself a salary, you want to take advantage of, getting some write-offs, what have you. Realtors, I would highly recommend like an S Corp versus an LLC. That's my recommendation. I would not do a C Corp. You're not there yet, unless you're a big corporate, big box real estate company. Then yeah, and you're looking to sell it for large amounts of money. And keep this in mind too, at least from when I last checked, you could change from an LLC to an S Corp. So there's a lot involved, guys. So I don't want to make this too long and make your head spin too much. But again, I'm adding incredible value for you. See you later, alligator. Peace out. God bless.